If you want to see all the 12 species of Panthera hybrids that exist in the world, the snail that produces its own food, and the cross between a sheep and a goat, then don't swipe or click away because here are the amazing hybrids part 2. Number 10. Geep. A geep or a shote is one of the rarest animals on this planet. Even though sheep and goats seem pretty close, in reality any attempt at mating will undoubtedly result in a stillborn. The dead offspring is probably why many people don't even try to create this hybrid often. However, on the rare occasion that it does happen, we're looking at you, France. The animal will have wool on its back and resemble a goat in the belly and legs. What an interesting hybrid! But wait, we're just getting started. Number 9. Mallard. Using artificial insemination, in the majority of cases, the domestic Muscovy duck can be bred with the domestic duck, and the offspring is called a mallard. The name comes from the wild duck, which is known as mallard. Before the insemination process, they select a Muscovy drake, male duck, and a Pekin duck. Depending on the gender, the mallard will either be raised for meat or foie gras. After the egg is hatched, usually after 32 days, the females are raised for their meat since they have more of it, and the males are mainly used for foie gras. We'd like to point out that even though mallards take traits from both parents, all of them have fangs on their feet. Still, they don't use them to fly and perch, they just stay near the water and watch the pekin swim. We should also tell you that the majority of the ducks that are raised for foie gras, about 35 million of them, are actually mallard hybrid, and most of them are raised exclusively in France. Number 8. Zebron. We talked about the beefalo in the previous video, but now we focus on the zebron. What's the difference? Well, the only difference is that the beefalo is American and the zebron is European. That's right, just like the beefalo, the zebron was bred from domestic cattle and wizened, which is the equivalent to the European wild buffalo. If you're wondering how they came up with the name, then we should tell you that it happened in 1969. A Polish weekly magazine organized a contest, and people smashed that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, the people submitted various names. The name Zebron was the most popular, and it stuck. But don't think that the Zebron was first bred in 1969, it's actually believed that the first Zebron was created in 1847. Since then, this new type of cattle resisted almost all diseases and didn't mind the harsh weather conditions. This is why they're still bred to this day, and the males can reach an astonishing weight of 1.2 tons. However, even though the mother can carry them in the womb, they'll not be born unless delivered by C-section. After that, the first generation of males is infertile, while the females can carry offspring. This way, generational breeders have Zebron-only cattle. Number 7. Zo. Seems like every continent has its own version of the beefalo. The Zo is the hybrid cattle you'll find in Tibet and Mongolia, and they're the offspring of the crossbreed between yak and domestic cattle. If you're looking for the English equivalent of the Zo, it's Yakko. The males are called Zo while the females are Zomo. Just like the Zebron, the females are fertile and the males aren't. And amongst the locals, the Zo are prized possessions because they're stronger than both yak and cattle, they produce more milk and have more meat. And even though other hybrids are usually weaker than their parents, the Zo is the opposite. It can survive at higher altitudes while giving more meat and milk. It's like this animal was born for Mongolian life. Number 6. Tigon. Coming from a male tiger and a female lion, the tigon can have spots on the outside like their mother. Yes, lions do carry genes for spots and stripes like their father. Now, thinking that they're smaller than lions and tigers because they're hybrids is false. The only reason tigons are smaller is because they carry the growth inhibitory genes from both of their parents. And how small are we talking about? Well, the average weight of a male is 400 pounds. For comparison, the adult male lion weighs 420 pounds, which means that they're just about the same size. Can you find tigons in the wild? Short answer, no. Long answer, you can't find them in the wild because tigers live in Asia and lions live in Africa. It would be one heck of a journey for each of them to travel to a different continent just to have offspring. By the way, if we ever saw that, it would be proof that lion-tiger love is breakable. If you thought the tiger was interesting, take a look at the liger. That is an even bigger cousin of the tiger, which we feature in another hybrid video. Just click the card if you like. Number 5. Hinny. Cross a horse and a jenny and you get a hinny. That's right, if the male is a stallion and the female is a donkey, then you'd get a hinny. If you did the opposite, you would get the more common mule. Now, it's believed that the size difference between the hinny and the mule comes from the mother, more specifically her womb. Let us explain. You see, the womb of a female donkey is smaller than that of a female horse, so consequently the hinny is smaller than the mule. But much like mules, the hinny is infertile as well. It's said that the male hinny can mate, but the emission might contain no sperm, or if it does, it's usually immotile. So to calm the mating behavior of hinnies, they're being castrated. Number 4. Panthera. Liguars, tiguars, jaglions, jaguapards. Oh, and so much more. These are all of the different species of Panthera hybrids we found. There was even an entire Wikipedia page dedicated to this phenomenon, so we decided to talk about them. This table shows you all of the possible crossbreeds between the 4 large wildcats, including the tiger, lion, jaguar, and leopard. The only cat absent from this list is the snow leopard, which could also be crossbred with any of the other 4 we mentioned earlier. Tigons, for example, are the offspring of a tiger and a lioness. Compare that to the African leopard-jaguar hybrid. It has black spots and a much darker tone of skin than the leopard and jaguar, while the tigon looks like a lion with its short mane but still resembles a tiger when you look at its legs and underbelly. Because they're so rare, many of these animals are taxidermied, and some of them can be even found in the Rothschild Museum in Tring, England. Of course, because the sex of the animal matters when crossbreeding, we have 2 hybrids from breeding 2 different cats. For example, if you breed a male lion and a female leopardess, you'll get a leopard. Breed a male leopard and a female lioness and you get a leopon. Because of their rarity, the Hanshin Park exhibition has taxidermied many of them and keeps them on display. Incidentally, the leopon is the next pick on this list. Top 3. Number 3. Leopon. Larger than leopards but smaller than lions, the leopon is a cross between a male leopard and a lioness. Looking at the head, the leopon resembles a lion, but the body will have the spots of a leopard. We know that the first ever leopon was bred in India in 1859, and the animal lived for 53 years until 1912. It's not strange to see some of them with sparse manes with hairs that are 7.9 inches long. But that's where the resemblance pretty much ends. When comparing their behavior, the leopon is similar to the jaguar since it likes to climb trees and enjoy the water. Number 2. Zebroid. We've all heard of the zedongs, but sometimes they're referred to as zebroids. Why? Because zebroids are any cross between a zebra and another equine. For example, if you cross a donkey and a zebra, you'd get a donkra. If you cross a horse and a cross between a horse and a zebra is called a hebra. They are so old that even Charles Darwin mentioned many of them in his works. Unlike the Panthera hybrids, the zebroids had a real use for humans, as the mule, for example, have harder hooves than horses, making them great for rocky terrain. Number 1. Emerald sea slug. This is considered one of the rarest animals in the world. It's green like a leaf, it looks like a leaf, but it has the head of a snail. And it's the only animal in the world that is able to use solar energy to turn carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. That's right, just like algae can create their own food, this slug too can create the food it needs for survival. Since they're very rare, they can only be found in salt marshes along the North American coast, from Florida to Nova Scotia. During their life, they can reach a size of up to 2.4 inches, but there are some species that only grow to about 0.4 inches in length. Another reason they're so rare is their 9 to 10 month lifespan. Now, scientists are still debating how we can have an animal-plant hybrid, but the general consensus is that the chloroplasts found inside the slug come from the Vaucheria litoria, a yellow-green algae that the slug eats. The plastids that produce the food are then stored inside its body for several months and provide the animal with the necessary food. It's still a mystery as to how they can do this, but Mother Nature doesn't have the time to explain stuff to us. Can you blame her? If you enjoyed this video, you'll like the next one. This is Koala with Koality Content. See you soon.